Welcome back to the channel. This is the first video in a long while. I think the last video I made was about 2 months ago on national under-23s. A lot has happened since then technically, but I also wasn't doing enough week by week to make a video. But this will be a big catch up on what's been going on the last 6 weeks. So really quick to get everyone up to date, in case you haven't heard, I flew out to Finland for the under-23 European Championships after national under-23s. Where I ended up tearing my ATFL and CTFL, which are two ligaments in your ankle. That was about 5 minutes before my first race of the championships, the 100-meter heat. That wrapped up my championships really quickly, and it also wrapped up the end of my season. Okay, so let's just get into the video, which is a bit all over the place considering it's across about 2 months of time. But it starts off with a few clips I recorded in Finland before getting injured. This was a small session to test out my legs by doing a handful of 10-meter sprints in spikes and then just finishing up the day with some easy strides. This session was 2 days before my 100-meter heats, I think, and I didn't really get any footage after that until I hurt myself. The rest of the trip was spent doing some really easy rehab, which was essentially walking on crutches and then walking a bit in the pool mixed with a few exercises in the pool. A bit of off-season fun I had while being injured was I flew to London for a few days just for a quick trip where I got a good few nice videos and photos. Then I went to Greece for a family holiday where I ended up staying in Athens for 3 days, and then I got a boat to one of the Greek islands for the rest of the trip. In between these trips, I was getting rehab done. I was told by my physio there would be a 6-week recovery process with these two ligament tears, and I was very determined to not let that drag on. I filmed all the rehab today when I kind of wanted to do it as I went to show you progress, but to be honest, I just wasn't really that motivated to film at the time, and it wasn't really that interesting while I was doing it. But this should give you a good idea as to how the first initial 3 to 4 weeks are when you're not really on the track and you're more doing like mobility type stretches in your ankle just to sort of get it ready for the more impactful things later. That brings us right up to the 8th of September, which was about week 4, I think, where it got my first session done, where I got my first run done on the track. This still counts as rehab because it's not really a session. I was just doing a few 100-meter strides. It's more of a recovery type session, but I was doing it to see how the ankle would react at going at about 60% pace. This went really good ankle wise because the pain was quite low and the reaction the next day was pretty good. I wasn't really feeling any pain walking around the next morning, which is kind of what I was looking out for. But it went really bad fitness wise because I was absolutely dead after the session, and I never really expected a recovery type session to take me out like that. I did that same session again 2 days later, and then again on the 13th of September. This was just a tiny bit faster, but it was relatively the same session, so I didn't really want to film it because it'd be quite repetitive. 14th of September is when the session sort of started to up itself. I was doing some 30-meter flies, starting at about 80% pace and then moving on gradually up to 90% pace. This went very good. I was expecting a good bit of pain and a bit of a reaction the next day, but I actually had none of that. So it was looking like I'd be back on the track with my group at around the 6-week mark, which is exactly what happened in the end. On the 18th of September, I got my first session back with the group, which was also exactly the 6-week mark since I injured myself. The session was 2 sets of 3 200s at 80%, and if you were to take into account my PB, that would mean that the target pace for me would be about 25.7 seconds per rep. But that would be a pretty unrealistic expectation to set coming into this session, just considering everything that was happening in the last few weeks and only just getting back from rehab. So I was aiming to just get as close to it as possible and to make it more consistent between the reps. The first rep was done in 26.16, which I was very happy with and slightly surprised, but that's pretty close to the target and didn't feel hard at all. The last rep of the set, I got 26.25. I was starting to hurt a bit, so that time was a good bit harder to hit than the earlier ones. With 8 minutes break between sets, I was feeling a good bit better going into rep 4, and I actually clocked myself at 26.09, which ended up being my fastest rep of the session. The 5th rep was done in 26.3, and that was the last rep of my session because I was absolutely dead, and honestly I probably got a good bit more done than expected, all things considered. The last session of this video was done in the gym. This is actually my 3rd gym session back, but the earlier ones were just light gym sessions, so they would start before I got back running. This was done in the Sport Ireland Institute because I saw my physio beforehand.
But I be free on the weekends for sure. I ain't shallow, rather hop in your deep and me and more. She a short shot of something to think to lean on. I don't take a thing too light, so when you like me, we doing your thing. I know you right, been a minute since I met you by now. I know you right, like a motherfucker. Fuck what they saying, I hold you tight. Told the world I need a break like a drum roll. Plus you got enough soul. I speak and my tongue goes a mile a minute. And mine, your eye didn't. We already crossed paths before. Now you grinning. I don't even need a big ass smile. You got an attitude, but that's your style. Maybe if I could get up in your latitude somehow, then we could put the past back where it belongs for now. Saturday special, stress over obsession. True story. Don't know how to rest. Saturday special. Get with Saturday special, stress over obsession. Don't know how to rest. Saturday special. To punch the clock, taking lunches in a box, crunching numbers will I make it to the top. I've been frontin', I ain't even had a weekend, I forgot, got heat, I need a drop if I'ma ever get up and out of this spot, God. Fridays are so-so, Sundays I'm low-dose, Mondays are fun crushers like cold flow. Girl, you keep me up like no-dos, you know those. You my southern comfort like so cold, you go. I used to suffer from a case of the Tuesdays, but now I feel on top of everything like a toupee. We don't even need no food liquor like Lupe. Everybody working for the weekend too, ayy, cause Saturday special, stress over obsession. Don't know how to rest. Saturday special, Saturday special. Yeah, stress over obsession. Don't know how to rest. Saturday special. Na 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 na.
And that's it. That's 6 or 7 weeks summed up into a small enough video, hopefully. That'll give you a good idea as to what my off season was like with the rehab and the comeback to training. Weekly videos are going to start up again starting now, hopefully. So keep an eye out for uploads from now on. Hopefully this wasn't too long of a video, but thank you for watching. It means a lot. And if you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like and consider giving the channel a quick follow. That's all for now. Stay fast and I will see you in the next video.